Hey guys, it's Blue Eyes Master 91, and I am back with another deck profile update. So, with the ban list coming out this past week, a couple days ago, a lot of things have changed. Fortunately for the deck we're doing today, Attic Nisters, not a lot has changed, so let's dive on in. So, we still are running the 3 Picari, the 3 Achichi, and the 3 Doyan. They're just far too good in this deck to be anything less than 3. Picari gets you spells from the deck and can make anything into a level 4 on your field. Achichi recycles monsters and can be used in combination with your Fire Phoenix. Doyan recycles spells when it's used to link summon and then recycles monsters from the graveyard. All really, really good effects and far too useful to be only a 2 of, like most people say Doyan should be. They should all be 3s. We have 2 copies of Buraru, the Wind. His effects are pretty good too, but I can't find a reason to bump him to 3. So when he's normal summoned or special summoned, he is able to have you pitch a card from your deck. An Attic Nister monster goes from your deck to the graveyard. When he's used to synchro summon, the other monster used can be resummoned. Yeah. If this card is normal summoned or special summoned, you can send one Attic Nister from monster from deck to grave. If this card is sent to grave as material for synchro summon of a Cyverse monster, you can target one monster in your graveyard that was used for that synchro summon, except this card. Special summon the monster. You're going to use each effect once per turn, so that's really good on getting to the arrival. It's very, very helpful. Hiyari is a 2 of in the deck, as is Doshin. I recently changed these numbers. There is eventually going to be a new version of Firewall Dragon Dark Fluid. It's out in the OCG called Firewall Dragon Dark Fluid Neo Tempest Terahertz or something. Basically what you do for that monster is you pitch a Cyverse from your deck or your extra deck to the graveyard. It gains that attribute and 2,500 attack points. There's a few more effects with him, but that's the one that I can remember offhand, since I don't have him pulled up at the moment. That said, when he is released, I will likely change some cards out in this deck and do another update. But for now, Hiyari and Doshin are in here as a 2-of because they can special summon themselves from the hand when you have an Attic Nister on the field. Hiyari lets you search out the ritual spell, I believe. Yeah, you can change a monster's level to 4 by pitching an Attic Nister from your monster from your hand, and then you can add the ritual spell to your hand. Doshin would allow you to target a Cyverse link in the grave, return it to your extra deck, and then you can add the Isle of Fusion from your deck to your hand. I do not run either of those cards. I do run the Ritual Monster to be pitched with Buru for Firewall Dragon Dark Fluid's initial effect. It does not state on the card that the Ritual Monster has to be summoned properly to gain the effect. That is something I am going to talk to a judge about on Sunday, hopefully. And if I am incorrect on how I'm looking at that effect and how it's worded, I will change out my deck at that point. We have one Damari, one Gachiri, and one copy of Gusari, Attic Nister. Damari is a pretty good combination hand trap interruption. Gachiri is just a big beefy defender who gives a couple of different effects. I'm not going to get too involved in what each card does. I've done that in my initial video, I believe. And by now, Attic Nisters are not uncommon to see, so I shouldn't need to go into too many details. I do have, like I said, my copy of Water Leviathan. And then, hold on. Let's clean this up a little. For the hand traps in the deck, I have 2 copies of Ash and a copy of Effect Veiler. While Ash isn't being seen too much, pre-ban list she wasn't being seen too much. I'm thinking that she might be seen a little bit more post-ban list. If not, I do have other hand traps that can sub in. And Effect Veiler is just, she's just really, really useful. I like her a lot. And I know that she's been getting a little bit more usage as of late as well. So I'm hoping that that trend continues with her. As for the spells in the deck, we have 3 mining, 2 copies of the field spell, both pretty common numbers. 2 copies of I Meet You, 1 copy of Eye Contact, 2 Idle Reborn. All are pretty common numbers for Attic Nister deck. Yeah. I'm also running a Smashing Ground with more decks running fusions over links, or just using everything but links for the most part, but fusions have been very, very prominent in the meta lately. This is just a really good card because it can destroy the face-up monster with the highest defense in your opponent's side of the field. So that's really, really useful in this format, I think. It is a card I will generally sub out into the side deck between matches because there are better cards, but being able to use that is pretty nice. I am running a copy of Dark Ruler No More with the copies of Droplet I pulled in the tin. I've had to be kind of conservative on where I put them. And I found that having Droplet in the side deck versus the main deck is easier. Dark Ruler No More is also seeing a lot more play right now than Droplet just because it's a much easier card to use. The cost of using it is that you can't deal battle damage versus Droplet forcing you to send cards from your hand or field to the graveyard to use as effect. Dark Ruler is just a much easier card to use. We have our copy of Called By, our Feather Duster. In the side deck, I do have a copy of Lightning Storm, and then I have a copy of Raigeki in the main deck. So, if and when I side deck, I have a couple of options as to what I can move around. Smashing Ground is something I can definitely take out versus, say, a copy of Mining or the Field Spell. But I can also take out the Ritual Monster, which is something I generally do as well. For the couple of traps I'm running, I have Eyes Show. This is a pretty good trap card. Very, very situational, but with Numeron Dragon being pretty relevant in the game right now, very easy to spit out thanks to Draglubian's reprint in Ghost from the Past 2. And a lot of Dragon decks, Galaxy Eyes runs them. I know I run it in both my Blue Eyes. Numeron Dragon is more or less why I keep this card in here. The effect is pretty good too. I mean, while you control a Link 3 or higher Attic Nister monster in the extra monster zone, when an opponent's monster declares an attack, special summon from your extra deck any number of non-Link Cyverse monsters with 2300 attack whose combined attack is less than or equal to the attacking monster's attack. then end the battle phase. So again, with Numeron Dragon being pretty easy to spit out in a lot of decks, being able to not only get a bunch of different monsters and Xyz, a fusion if you run it, synchro, being able to get 3 monsters on board and then end the battle phase, that's pretty good. There are other ways to use the trap. Obviously, you do have to have a Link 3 or higher in the extra monster zone, but that's pretty easy to do in this deck. I'm also running 2 copies of Imperm and a Warning. The Warning is just honestly because I haven't really done a lot of updates to this deck yet. But the Warning is still pretty useful in the deck. I wouldn't discourage using it if you're not going to use it. I'd put another Imperm in or maybe a Strike. But with decks in the meta using more board breakers over hand traps, it's a pretty good card to run, I think. As for the extra deck, we have our copy of the Arrival. Not much to say on him. The original copy of Firewall Dragon Dark Fluid. Again, I'm looking forward to the updated version that has a better effect. We have our Wind Pegasus, our Light Dragon, and then our Firewall Dragon Xyz Dragon, which he's fairly useful in this deck. I really do enjoy having him in the deck. We have Access Code Talker to do access code things. Firewall Dragon for Xyz Dragon's effect. Templar, Fire Phoenix, Transcode Talker, Splash Mage, Update Jammer, 2 copies of Infant, and our Ling Kuriboh. So, for the extra deck, not much has changed. It should look pretty much like a lot of Attic Nister deck profiles for that. They may not run the Firewall Dragon or the Xyz Dragon, but otherwise it should be pretty similar to what a lot of Attic Nister decks run. I'll go over my side deck real quick. I have a copy of Crow, copy of Ghost Bell, an Ogre, the last Ash Blossom, Lightning Storm, Droplet, my 3rd copy of the Island, copy of Crossout, Eyes Ritual. I do have it in the deck. It's just sided, and I've never had to actually put it into the main deck. I've never come across a situation where it would actually be useful to summon the ritual monster. I do have another copy of Dark Ruler, Anti-Spell. Mind Crush is always fun, with a lot of decks being able to search. It's kind of fun to just flip it as soon as they've searched something. Like, for example, in Predaplants, if they're adding a polymerization, you flip this, call Poly, they have to discard it. Can screw up their entire plan. I got another copy of Eyes Show. I got a copy of Torrential, and then the Fusion Golem. Or the Earth Golem, rather. But that is it for this deck profile. I will be uploading a few this week. Well, to end the week, and then starting next week, I'll have more coming out. Right now, I am technically working 3 jobs, so uploads have been slow because I've been looking for something that's more consistent. Money just hasn't been there, and I'm still trying to get my office somewhat set up. So, yeah, I'll hopefully be able to upload a bit more frequently, but I'm not going to promise anything right now. I'm not going to try to create a schedule yet. But yeah, until next time, I will catch you guys later.